Welcome to Feel Good Alcohol Free, the podcast for high achieving women who are ready to stop negotiating with alcohol and finally start living in alignment with who they're here to be. I'm Lindsay, coach, mentor, and creator of Feel Good AF, my signature 13-week group coaching experience that helps you build a life that feels so good alcohol just doesn't belong anymore. I am so glad to be back for season 2 of Feel Good Alcohol Free. I hope that you were able to catch up on some or all of season 1 while I was taking a break to reflect on the year so far and develop new and potent topics to bring your way so you can feel good alcohol free. So, without wasting another second, let's get into this week's episode. This episode is for the woman who does it all except let go of that nightly glass or bottle. You're showing up everywhere. The workouts, the meetings, the school runs, the inbox. You're holding it together like a pro. And that used to be me too. I looked like I had it all handled. I could drink a bottle of wine at night and still be up early, crossing off things from my to-do list the next day. No hangover, no problem, right? Sound familiar? Except it was a problem. Because what I'd really developed wasn't just a high tolerance for alcohol. It was a high tolerance for feeling like crap. I'd normalized the brain fog, the short fuse, the never quite rested mornings. I told myself that I was fine because everything looked fine. But I wasn't fine. I was functioning. I wasn't thriving and feeling amazing. And that's what I want to open up today. What if holding it all together is the very thing holding you back? Let's talk about this underlying myth of high functioning and why it's quietly stealing more than you think. Okay, the myth of high functioning. Let's talk about a phrase we throw around like it's a badge of honor. High functioning. She runs the meetings. She hits the Peloton by 7 a.m. Her kids are dressed. The dishwasher's running. The Slack pings are answered. She even remembers to pack the snacks for a soccer game. From the outside, she's nailing it. And for a long time, that was me. Minus the kids part, of course. I could drink a bottle of wine at night and still show up sharp the next day. No slurring, no missed deadlines, no obvious looking crash. But there are some things that I didn't see or notice or pay attention to at the time. Behind all of that functioning, I was barely feeling. I wasn't laughing like I used to. I wasn't sleeping deeply. I was short-tempered with the people I loved. And really, I wanted to be left alone a lot. But I chalked it up to being busy, to being just tired, to this is just how life is now. I didn't realize I had built an entire life that looked successful on this foundation of quiet depletion. I used to say regularly, I can drink a bottle of wine and be fine the next day. I just had no idea that I was operating at this level of 40 or 50%. And I see this all the time with my clients. I am going to share a little story about a woman that I worked with named Emily. She is a corporate VP. She has 3 children and she is a 6 a.m. runner. She came to me saying, I don't think I have a problem, but I'm exhausted all the time. Now, she didn't binge drink. She wasn't blacking out. She was just pouring 2 glasses of wine every single night, sometimes 3, and still getting up the next morning to, do it all. But when we looked closer, her anxiety was through the roof. Her sleep was trash. She felt resentful of everyone and everything, even her own success. She told me something I'll never forget. I haven't felt proud of how I'm living in years, but I'm so damn good at pretending I am. That's what the label high functioning does. It gives us just enough proof that everything's fine to avoid looking at what isn't. So if you're listening to this thinking, I'm still getting it all done, it can't be that bad. I want to gently ask you this. At what cost? Because showing up doesn't mean that you are thriving and that your life is amazing. Checking the boxes isn't the same as feeling good in your life. And being high functioning doesn't mean that you're free. It just means you've adapted to a lower standard and made it look impressive. But deep down, you know there's more available to you than this. And here's the thing. When you're in that high functioning state, crushing your day while quietly resenting it, you don't even realize how much it's costing you. You just adapt, compensate, push through until one day you catch yourself, snapping at your partner over nothing or forgetting what your child just said to you because your brain's a foggy blur. You pour the wine again. You scroll, you check out because your body and brain are stuck in a loop that no one taught you how to break. And that's where we go next, into what you're not seeing yet, but you're definitely feeling. Okay, let's be honest. You don't think you wake up hungover, but really, you've just adapted to operating at 50% and calling it normal. Maybe you don't always skip the workout or even work or cancel plans. You're still getting it all done. But when was the last time you woke up feeling good? If not 100%, what about 80 or 90%? It's easy to believe there's no real problem. But here's what you're not seeing yet, because it's become your normal. You wake up already tired, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. It's like your brain is running on dial-up and you're forcing it to load at lightning speed. You move through your day on autopilot. You answer the emails. You show up for the meetings. You pack the lunches. But when was the last time you felt present, like actually there in your life? Your patience is gone. You snap over crumbs on the counter. You lose it over a question you've answered twice, and you hate how reactive you've become. But you don't know how to stop. You forget words, not big ones, little ones. Someone asks you what you need at the store and you freeze. It's like your brain short circuits under the weight of even one more decision. You dread 3 or 4 p.m. because that's when the edge hits. That tightening in your chest, that low grade irritability, that craving for something, anything to take the pressure off. And right on cue, the wine starts whispering, "You've earned this," or "This is going to help you relax." And of course, this is the only thing that makes the noise stop. And for 20 minutes or so, maybe it does. But then what? The brain fog thickens, the sleep turns restless, the edge sharpens again by morning. So you doubling down on coffee, on productivity, on pretending that it's all fine. But beneath that, there's a loop running. And it sounds like this: why can't I just stop? I know better. I want better. So why do I keep doing this? This is not some sort of weakness that you have. It's over adaptation. You're not lacking willpower. I've got plenty of episodes that talk about willpower. It's because you've been taught to survive stress with suppression. You weren't given the tools to process it, to sit with it, to alchemize it into power. You've conditioned yourself to operate in survival mode while calling it success. You've trained your system to tolerate exhaustion, tension, and low-grade depletion because it's the only thing you've had time for. And when stress spikes, alcohol becomes this pressure valve, 20 minutes of artificial calm that costs you hours of mental clarity, emotional availability, and real rest. It's a loop, one you didn't create intentionally, but one you've been living in long enough to confuse it with who you are. So let's be really clear here. You don't lack discipline. You lack a nervous system that's been given better tools. This isn't about willpower. This is about rewiring, breaking the pattern. Because until you do this, every day is just a battle between who you are and who you know you could be if this wasn't running the show. So let me ask you, what would it feel like to walk through your evening without needing anything to take the edge off? And not because you're pushing through, but because the edge itself is gone. I want you to just imagine coming home and not hearing the wine whisper your name. moving through your routine, feeling steady, not stretched, falling asleep without numbing, negotiating, or my favorite, overthinking. That is not a fantasy. That's what starts happening when you stop suppressing and start rewiring. That's what's waiting when you stop managing your life in survival mode and start building a reality that supports your full capacity. Here's the mindset shift I want to offer you today. What if the wine isn't the problem, but the loop it creates is? Because every glass is a short-term solution that comes with a long-term tax. Your clarity, your confidence, your energy, and your peace. Okay, you are not alone. You are just numbing a very loud life. Let's get honest about something that most high-achieving women never say out loud. Sometimes the wine isn't about the wine. It's about the noise, the mental tabs you never close, the emotional labor that you carry without recognition, this pressure to show up, perform, deliver, lead, and do it all without breaking stride. So you pour a glass, not to party, not to escape, just to breathe. It's not indulgence. It's management, a moment to quiet everything that's too loud to process in the margins of your day. And if that's been your story, you're not alone. So many of the women I coach tell me, I don't even want to drink most nights. I just don't know what else to do. That's not failing. It's conditioning. No one gave us better tools. No one taught us how to regulate stress without numbing it, how to sit with discomfort without silencing it, how to decompress without disassociating. You've built a powerful life on top of a nervous system that's constantly in negotiation mode. And alcohol became the shortcut, the silencer. It's like the shutoff valve. So I want to offer you a fresh lens to look at this through. What if your drinking habit isn't a reflection of who you are, but of how unsustainable your current pace has become? This isn't about moral failing. This is about resourcing. And here's something that I think that you probably aren't hearing very often. A lot of people aren't saying this. You don't have to suffer to succeed. You don't have to push harder, perform better, or stay on 24/7 to prove that you're worthy. You can still be excellent. You can still lead. You can still be the woman everyone counts on without outsourcing your relief to a bottle. Because this real power doesn't come from overriding the signals. It comes from learning how to listen to them and leading yourself differently. Okay, I want to pause for a second and ask a question that cuts deeper than it looks. Are you proud of how you're coping? Not, are you surviving? Not, are you keeping up? Are you getting by? But are you proud? Because if you were anything like I was, the answer is not really. When I was drinking regularly, I didn't feel out of control, but I also didn't feel in control. I was fine. I was functional. But the way I was coping wasn't aligned with the woman I wanted to be or be known as. I'd collapse into bed at night with a buzz instead of feeling peaceful and like I had done an amazing job that day. And I'd wake up the next morning already feeling behind, mentally cloudy, short-tempered, impatient with everybody around me, including myself. I thought I was tired, but what really I was disconnected from rest, disconnected from presence, from that clear, calm version of me who could actually enjoy her life, not just get through it. And so here's what I want you to hear. That version of you, she exists. She's just buried under years of noise, stress, and patterns that you've had to normalize. You were never meant to live in a cycle of managing the day, then numbing the night, waking up at 50% and calling it fine. You were meant to wake up clear, sharp, light, proud of how you handled the day before, excited, not anxious about what's coming next. So let's go back to imagining more of what you'll have when you make the decision to no longer allow alcohol to rule your day. The first one, mornings that start without guilt or grogginess. Evenings where you don't need to disconnect from your own life. Conversations where you're fully present, not distracted by shame or irritability. That was always my top thing. Rest that actually restores you, not just knocks you out. This is not just possible for you, it's what you deserve, but you've been conditioned to settle. We live in a culture that subtly trains high achieving women to drink just enough to stay small, to stay tolerable, to stay manageable to everyone else. Because when you're always a little foggy, a little depleted, a little numbed out, you're easier to ignore, easier to please, easier to control. But you weren't made for tolerable. You were made for exceptional. And if something in you has been whispering that there's more, you're not imagining it. That's your clarity coming back online. That's the part of you that's done settling, done shrinking, done handing your peace to a pour. Okay, let's talk about a better way forward. So now what? If any part of you is sitting with this and thinking, okay, this is me. Now what the heck do I do with it? You're not alone. That moment of seeing it clearly for the first time is where every woman I work with begins. They don't come to me because they've hit rock bottom. They come because they're done living below their potential, done negotiating with their self-worth at 6 p.m., done being sharp in the boardroom and foggy in their own kitchen, done calling survival success and secretly wondering why it all still feels off. They come to me because they want their full energy back, their clarity back, and big time, their self-trust back. And this isn't through rules or shame or counting the days, but by learning how to rebuild who they are without alcohol running the background script. Here's where this starts. It starts with curiosity, not judgment. It might look like realizing that the glass of wine isn't actually relaxing you. It's just delaying what you need to feel. It's procrastination. Drinking is procrastination. Asking yourself why silence feels uncomfortable and what might happen if you stopped feeling it. Choosing to sit on the couch with a journal for 5 minutes instead of pouring that default drink. Actually answering the question, how was your day? With more than, fine, it was all right. These aren't hacks. They're micro acts of reconnection, tiny potent shifts that signal to your nervous system, we don't do autopilot anymore. And when women step into this work, something really powerful happens. They start waking up proud of how they moved through the day before. They start handling hard moments with clarity instead of compulsion. They start recognizing themselves again, not the version they've been managing, but the one they've been craving. That is why they join Feel Good Alcohol Free, because they're ready for more than discipline. They're ready for daily alignment and a coaching space that finally reflects the woman they're here to become. So if you're nodding along right now, if you've been performing fine and know you're meant for more, if you're like I was, you've outgrown the rule book. What unlocks your next level isn't more restriction, it's reflection. And when you start seeing yourself clearly, you start choosing differently every single time. Okay, you've done hard things before. This isn't new territory for you. It's just a different kind of challenge, one that asks for honesty instead of hustle, presence instead of performance. And I want you to really hear this. You haven't been doing anything wrong. You've simply been doing what you were taught to do. Cope, override, keep moving, keep pushing through. But at some point, high functioning becomes high cost. And that's the point most women come to me. Not when things fall apart, but when they realize they're tired of building success on top of depletion. If anything in today's episode felt like close to home, don't rush past it. Sit with it. Let it land. And then ask yourself this question: am I proud of how I'm coping right now? If the answer is no, don't shame it. Don't justify it. Just meet it where it's at, with truth, with how you're feeling. Because awareness is a turning point. It's what separates another week on autopilot from the moment you change the trajectory. So here's what I want you to do. You know that I love an assignment and that you get one every single week. So your only assignment from this episode is pay attention. Pay attention tonight when the edge creeps in. Pay attention when the craving whispers, just one glass. And ask yourself, what am I actually needing right now? That awareness alone is a power move, because the moment that you choose reflection over reaction, you're no longer in the cycle, that loop that we talked about. You're in your power. You're gaining control. And if you're ready to move from that awareness into real supported change, to actually rewire the patterns behind the craving, to rebuild your evenings, your clarity, your sense of peace, that's the work that we do inside Feel Good AF. This isn't just about not drinking. It's about no longer living a life that you secretly want to escape from, because let's face it, you're tired of checking out. So if this episode opened something for you, don't just close the app and move on. Come and find me. DM me. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to start, because nothing changes until you decide to stop circling. And you are ready for something better. You've always been ready. If you're hearing me today and saying, I'm ready to do this thing and not look back, then I invite you to step into Feel Good AF. The link is in the show notes. And what I can promise you is you'll be a different person at the end of our time together. You won't just take a break from drinking. You'll build a life that is so aligned, peaceful, and powerful. Alcohol simply no longer fits. No rules, no shame, no counting days, just daily decisions that make you proud of how you're living. Okay, friends, that's it for me this week. I'm so glad to be back for season 2 of Feel Good Alcohol Free. I've got some exciting episodes for you coming up, including a special podcast series that I'll be releasing for you to bring you even deeper into my world, methodology, and of course, to get you closer to the version of yourself that you know is in there and capable of becoming. As always, if you loved this episode, please rate it and leave a comment. It helps other women who need help find it.